Hi, and welcome to Sweet Valley Diaries, Extra Drama. Today's bonus episode is for book number 7, Dear Sister, which was quite the thrill ride. And my guest again is Alex Jennings. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really feel like we started last week's episode with me apologizing to you for asking you to read this, but I was so gratified that you really got your hackles up as much as I did about the crazy events of this insane book.
It's absurd.
Yeah. So normally in Extra Drama, we talk about like a B plot or something like that, but I feel like we pretty much got to everything in the main episode. It's all much more interwoven in Dear Sister than in a lot of the books. But I thought, if you don't mind, that I would take the opportunity of having you here because I realized, really just in the past couple of days, what a unique opportunity I have to talk to you because you are an actress who specializes I would say in playing, right? That's like a thing. You specialize in playing. So far, you have a youthful appearance. You pull it off playing a teenager. Absolutely, I've seen it on TV. It's very believable. But you are not a teenager.
Correct.
We talk a lot about older people playing teenagers on TV shows and how the covers of the book they look so much older. But Alex, as Carla on the Goldbergs, you literally go to work and essentially attend 80s high school as an actress. So, I mean, were you thinking about that at all when you were reading the book?
Now I'm like, no. Like, now I'm surprised, because I guess it doesn't... There's a big difference between Southern California high school and the Goldbergs takes place in Pennsylvania, like Jenkintown, Pennsylvania. Like, very different vibes, I will just say. So, I mean, I do love a good high school show or book in general. I love the 80s, like I just do. So like I love Freaks and Geeks, all that kind of stuff, you know?
I love Freaks and Geeks, yeah.
So like I didn't really relate as much, just, I don't know, like the fact that my character is like one of like the cool, like crazy, like girls. Like I basically play like a crazy Jessica on the show. Like I don't, but I'm not blonde or anything, you know?
What if Carla had a twin who was very studious?
Oh
Will
man,
you pitch
that would
that
be
to
crazy.
Adam?
Yeah, Adam Goldberg, just the showrunner of the show. I'm sure he has time for me pitching him ideas.
Hey, you're one of his stars.
But like that would be so fun. I mean, that is kind of like a crazy dream. They always did that on soaps. If you were a really good actor on a soap opera, they would rate you a twin because you could pull it off and do both, and that would be quite an honor.
You would be great at that. I think
I could, because I basically Elizabeth in real life, and I play a Jessica on TV, I guess. That's like, I'm realizing this now, like, that's kind of true.
You are wearing glasses at the moment, and I'm totally picturing Carla's twin sister. We'll call her Martha.
Marla?
Oh, that's even better than Martha. So we'll call her Marla, wears glasses. And she has her hair in a bun, and she is very studious. Maybe she's like, in charge of the chemistry club or something.
Oh my god, I gotta say, I do actually, like, love all of this. I wish there was something I could actually do with that, because Carla just has no time for anyone. All she does is, she, like, steals stuff. She, like, knows all the cops, basically. She, like, is just hanging out with, like, older men all the time.
Well, that fits really well into the Sweet Valley universe, too.
I don't know,
We were just talking about all the older men in Dear Sister. There's Dr. Edwards, there's Mr. Collins, there's some sort of psychologist that's referenced, there's the cop that's like an older man who gets an adult smile.
I always joke that, like, my character probably does have, like, an older boyfriend that, like, sells, like, stereos at the mall or something.
I could definitely
see there's
that.
A guy, Sean Marquette, plays my boyfriend on the show, but we also joke that he looks really old, too. Anyway, no, now I'm like, putting together, like, there's plenty of similarities that I just did not think about.
Well, there aren't too many things in this particular book that seem super 80s. Some of the books have more references to 80s things. One cultural reference that I thought was sort of telling, though it's also not particularly 80s-ish, is that at the very beginning of the book, Elizabeth is in the hospital, and Jessica brings her some stuff to kind of spruce her up, and she brings her dry shampoo.
Thank you, but we didn't talk about that, and I was like, dry shampoo was a thing?
I didn't know it existed in the 80s, but also, boy, has dry shampoo's, like, headline changed, because in this book, Elizabeth is like, oh, dry shampoo.
Yeah.
And instead of like, ooh, dry shampoo, that'll be great, you know?
So I'm so glad you brought that up, because I did, like, circle that, like, like dry shampoo was a thing. Like I didn't know that was a thing, and now it's like all the rage here. She like, hates that. She calls it like super duper dry shampoo.
Yeah, it's super duper dry shampoo. She's like, I know it's not as good as the real thing, which is true. Let's face it, dry shampoo is not as good as the real thing.
These girls are very all about their hygiene though, and their grooming.
Yeah, there's a lot of showers.
The most in this book, the most like heated I feel like Jessica ever gets is when Elizabeth gets in the shower before she can.
Yes, she's
like
so
she's
mad.
like so livid about the shower, and I thought that was hilarious. That was the most freaked out.
That's when they're getting ready for the party, the pool party they have at their house, the first party of the book. Jessica and Elizabeth's like celebration of Elizabeth's homecoming party. It's a pool party. Jessica has to do all the work, and she's really sweaty and gross, and she has this realization like, oh man, getting ready for a party gets really sweaty.
Yeah.
It's like you realize just how Jessica has this like realization over the course of this book about how much work it is to like give a shit about anything but yourself. Mm-hmm. It's a good lesson that she doesn't really hold on to.
Yeah, I feel like after this book, if it was real, everything would change forever between them, or at least Jessica would have like a huge shift. Is how it feels like it should happen, you know? Like, and all the tension's gone because Jessica learned her lesson and now they're both perfect.
It probably wouldn't make for an amazing series. Although one thing that does happen as the series goes on is that it quits being all about the Wakefield twins and starts being a little bit more about some of the other characters. So, going back to Goldbergs and Fictional 80s High School, if the Sweet Valley were Jenkintown, you know, the Jenkintown High School series, eventually Carla would get her own book. Like, pretty early on, probably, there would be a Carla book.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That makes sense, instead of just a crazy side character. Just to be clear, my character is not that big on the show for the listeners. It's like, I'm the weird girl they go to school with. I just say, like, really crazy stuff from time to time. I'm just around.
Yeah, and if you never watched the Goldbergs, then you might not, I mean, you won't know what we're talking about.
Not at
but all you need to know is that it's set in the 1980s high school.
Yeah, sorry, just to be clear, the similarities are, it is a 1980s high school, and we never say what year it is. It's always 1980-something.
Yeah.
Which I did feel similarities with this book, because I was like, does time pass? Are they junior forever? Like, I've basically been playing a junior in high school for 3 years now. Maybe I'm a senior now. But yeah, we're never really sure how old we are. We're just like upperclassmen. That's all we know.
Yeah. I know it's a little bit goofy for me to get up in arms about how much time is passing when that is a pretty much like a founding principle of all like television, and that's basically how this show goes. Like, you know, look at Saved by the Bell. Like, you know, that just went on forever.
You're right.
And they were always like, it was some time in the year all the time. This series is a lot like Saved by the Bell, honestly. This high school is a lot like Bayside High, probably more than any other fictional high school I can think of. But, you know, it's my kind of favorite thing is to take this all way more seriously than it deserves. So I guess the whole time concern goes right into that.
Then you're doing great.
Was there anything else about the book that... Oh, thank you. I am doing great. Was there anything else about the book that you wanted to talk about?
I mean,
that we missed
so much that now I'm like...
I have anything.
I love that the book itself just opens with, like, a teaser. Like, you open the cover, and the first page is just, like, a little, like, mini... teaser, like you're like picking up in the middle, like you're just reading the book.
Yeah,
like
and
prologue,
the thing that it teases
is
is like the second paragraph of the
basically
of the book.
It was like really bizarre. It was like so dramatic, like immediately though. It was such a bizarre place to pick up to like start a book like in the middle of like basically a climax of a story. It's like this is a weird place to start.
Well, this is the first time there's been this level of a cliffhanger. There is one last thing that I pointed out that's just kind of a weird little moment that I just don't want to let it go by unnoticed. So Jessica decides at a certain point when she's really had it with Elizabeth's behavior and she doesn't know who to turn to. Elizabeth is in a lot of trouble. Jessica's kind of getting in trouble because of Elizabeth's trouble. She remembers that Elizabeth always went to talk to Mr. Collins. And she decides to go talk to Mr. Collins, who I believe, again, mistakes Jessica for Elizabeth because they look like each other now in their outfits and level of worry, like the worry on their faces, concern for other human beings. Jessica has that now.
Has flipped.
So, but there's this weird moment where Jessica starts crying to Mr. Collins, and here I noted the paragraph. Roger Collins put a comforting arm around Jessica's shoulders, letting her enjoy the release of crying for a few minutes. He then put a crisp white handkerchief in her hand, patted her shoulder gently, and asked, "Feeling better?" Which, that's really the idea that he's going to let her enjoy the release of crying. Like, what a weird thought. Like, have you ever seen somebody cry? And it's one thing to be like, you need to get this out. But another thing is like, boy, enjoy it.
It's so
enjoy
weird.
That release.
I don't even know. Mr. Collins, man. I guess how kind of him to allow her to cry.
To allow her to enjoy her release.
Yeah, it's weird. He doesn't really know the full story of what's going on to know that she's enjoying it or needed it.
No. And it's also just like further sexualization of Mr. Collins, which now that we are examining these books from the year 2018, is hard to ignore. I don't think it's Mr. Collins' fault.
No, Mr. Collins is maybe the least weird. I don't know, but the doctor, adult man, who touches them a lot, or just like touches her hair and her face.
Yeah, and has no power to help someone get healthy. As
and then Mr. Collins is definitely, you know, a guy who's around a lot, who they
is handsome.
Like. And then Jessica mentioned some good-looking psychology professor that was like gonna come in and visit again. And just like, all right, we have a thing for older men, maybe.
Maybe so. This has been very productive. I feel like, if nothing else, we have, like, cracked the character of Marla for future episodes of the Goldbergs.
Yes.
So if you want to just, like, cut and paste us into an email to, you know, any writers that you know over at the show.
Get some web content.
Yeah.
A little web series spinoff. Yeah.
Ooh. Now there's an idea. Does Carla have a last name?
Natalie.
I guess it would be kind of a surprise if Carla suddenly has a twin that we never heard about. But I think that could be the joke.
I already have a dad, a stepdad, and a brother who's, like, joined a cult or something. So, like, having a twin, like, anything's possible with her, so.
Agreed. All right, make it happen. Universe.
Back on this other show.
This is The Secret. We're embodying it right now. Like, we're going to put it out there into the universe. This is what I want. I want Marla Natali to be a character on the ABC sitcom The Goldbergs.
Yes.
Starring Alex Jennings.
And from now on, this is now the Carla and Marla show. It's over. Sweet Valley.
Yeah, we're not talking about Sweet Valley anymore.
This is the last episode. I'm just kidding. Don't worry, everyone.
Tune in next week to hear about Book 8.
Heartbreakers.
Yeah, something about Bill Chase and Jessica and surfing. And it's going to be great.
I can't wait.
Yay!